Well, again guys, welcome back to another episode at ZMSC Modelworks, sponsored by HobbyDesign, and we're kind of jumping right into the LB Works F430 build. We've already gone ahead and cut off the bumper. There is a very faint kind of bumper separation line that you can follow. Just be very, very careful, especially here around the headlight buckets. As you can see, there's a little bit of distress going on in the plastic as I was cutting through and then eventually doing a quick saw around. Once you've done that and you haven't broken anything, all I went ahead and did is took a flat sanding stick and then kind of supported it across the whole thing and made it all flat just to even it out. And then we went ahead and cut that main spar in between the two locating tabs and then kind of cleaned up the edges here, and we went ahead and can put it on. Now the way this one works is you can see this lip right here. So the bumper actually sits on the sides right here, and then when it comes to the front, it actually kind of dips in and sits on top of that sort of lip. So when you actually put it on, you kind of have to go from the front, kind of get that nose to sit in. I just have a piece of tape there holding it in. That down. Okay. So sort of like that. Obviously we need to glue it in to make it hold, but yeah, it sits right on top of that front bumper piece, and then it sits on top of the sides of the front fenders there. So that's part of construction number one. Glue this in place, and then we'll move on to the Fender Flares. Okay, so we've got our bumpers taped up, and it's been glued around the inside here. Just a mix of dental acrylic and cyanoacrylate. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the front bumpers here, or sorry, the front fenders. Anyways. So what they've got here is it's kind of like an L shape, which I'm assuming is going to hook into the actual body here. Now this kind of line matches where the door jamb is here, but it doesn't really give an indication on this side where it needs to be cut. Now the only thing I can really think of here is just along the front fender, if you can see it, there's this little kind of mold seam that in other ways you would sand out. However, I think that's going to be a good sort of a reference mark to cut the actual front fender, and then I might trim up the wheel well afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that with a knife first, and then I'll use a scriber to kind of get it down to the last little bit, then use a thin photo etch saw to cut it the rest of the way. So I'll show you what that looks like when it's all done. Okay guys, there we go. So we followed that mold seam line across the front fender and then all the way down the door. We also attached the side skirt with the sort of intakes on either end. And then as you can see here, we lift that tape up, put the front end of that in, kind of scoot it in underneath, kind of just take that in place slightly. And now because this obviously is the resin, it can flex and bend a little bit. So once that's glued down in place there, that pulls all together. So all we need to do now is start gluing stuff into place, and then we can move along to the rear arches. But I will let you guys know that the pieces here that I originally thought were side skirts are actually just a little kind of louver skirt here. I'm probably going to leave that until after I've done the fenders, just in case there's any issue going on, and how much of this I need to cut off. So I'm going to make sure I have the exterior done, and then I'm going to put the chassis base in and then see how it looks underneath there. But all in all, yeah, it's all fitted up, so we'll move ahead and start doing that rear fender. Okay, so we started work on the rear fenders, and we've cleaned those up, and there's really no sort of support pieces or anywhere to lock in. There's some raised edges here on that side, and then this one little edge here on the back end, and what that's supposed to do is just sit on top of the body like so. However, there's a lot of empty space underneath, and what we did was I kind of tacked that in place and then shone a light through this backside to kind of reveal the edge of the fender there, and then we went ahead and just traced it on the inside and then shone a light through the back half to kind of mimic it on the outside. So essentially what we're going to do is just go ahead and cut that out and then glue the fender in place. So I'll get that cut out and we'll be back when our gluing is done and it's in place. Okay guys, so there we go. There's our front bumper, the front fender, and the rear fender all put into place, and that's just the majority of the body. So when we come back with the next episode, we'll move on to doing our side skirts and where those go, as well as the rear diffuser, which is going to have to take a huge chunk out of the chassis plate here. So all those little things we'll do when we come back. I'm going to finish up the other side and then get this ready for paint. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and stay tuned for the next episode where we move on to the other little bits. So thanks for watching and have a good one.